Okay, we're on the air. Welcome, everybody. We're already in open, so we're back in open, and it's great to see a big crowd today out on one of the nice fall days. I guess we can call it fall now. Summer fall, yep. And so we've got a fairly interesting agenda, and we'll get her started. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Elliott, that the minutes of the September 19th, 2017 council meeting be approved. All in favor? Carried. Okay. Next up, we have the we got moving into council into. Yep. Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Caldwell, the Town of Minto Council convenes in a committee of the whole. All in favor? Okay. On delegations. Now, has anybody got any other business? Where's that other? Oh, additional items up there.
Additional items.
Yeah, way up there. You got one, Ron?
No.
No, you haven't.
I don't think I have anything.
Okay. Gene?
I'll probably think of something.
Oh, I know you will. All right. We'll figure it out at the end there. Okay. So we have no public meetings, and we have delegations. So up first is the Town of Minto Heritage Association. I'm welcoming June McDonald and Karen Wagner. Who's coming up to speak? Oh, well, a curve there, and
a curve.
I asked just before, Jim. I'm sorry. I asked before who was going to speak, and
well, they are. I'm delegating.
Well, you know, when I don't know if I want a former politician. We haven't got a lot of time. Just go ahead, Jim.
I'm going to be short.
Welcome, Jim Connell.
I'd just like to say thank you very much, Council, for receiving our request to make a presentation here today. And I'm just going to introduce some of the members. They're not all here, but anyway, Betty Odette from Palmerston.
Oh, yes, Betty. Yeah, I see Betty there.
Lucille Seiler from Palmerston. Jim Sariski, I don't think he's here.
No, Jim's not here.
And myself as chairman, and June McDonald, which you already mentioned, as secretary treasurer. Karen Wagner from County of Wellington. I got to get this word right. Archivist.
Yeah.
And Bob McCaffrey. I don't see
Bob here. No.
And valued helpers were Barb Burrows, Mark Robinson, John and Bev Savage, Phyllis Lickney, and summer student Brad White and Delaney Turner.
Excellent.
Those are the people who helped put this project together. Now I'm going to turn it over to.
There you go. Well, good job. Good job. Thanks, Jim.
That's short.
Yeah, it was short.
Good afternoon. Do any of you remember seeing this poster? It's a while ago.
Yeah. Okay.
In 2012, actually,
I
came to council to present a proposed project on the part of the Town of Minto Heritage Association. And we thought at the time that we could do this in about a year, maybe a year and a half. And here we are, 4+ years on. And we're here today to say the project is complete as far as the photographing that we were going to do, and Karen is now in the process of putting it all into format, which we will see later. And I just wanted to say as an introduction to what a beautiful part of this world we live in. And having walked and driven a good chunk of it in the last few years, I only feel stronger as years go by. I think Minto is the real treasure. I think the variety of the landscape, variety of homes, the people are wonderful, and overall, this of course impacted on us as the workers who were taking the pictures. And what we have been doing is driving, first of all, in the township, which is huge, by the way, driving up and down the various concessions, taking pictures of every farm and or country home, And then when we finished that finally, last year we began with Palmerston and then Clifford, and then finally this spring we finished with Harrison. And what we have really done, and this is how I explained it to people who were asking us why we were taking pictures of their house, that we were putting together a picture album, if you like, a big picture album of scrapbooks of the town of Minto at this point in history. And how it will be used will remain to be seen. I think there's a lot of creative people who will find different uses for it. It will go online. But what we have done, and I have no idea whether Karen knows how many images we've actually taken, but thousands, I'm sure. And it was a fun project. It was hard. It was a lot of slugging, and we had thought we would be able to use the winter months. Not so. They didn't cooperate, and we found sometimes that digital cameras don't work very well in the winter anyway. It was difficult to recruit helpers, and I think that was the biggest drawback. We thought people would enjoy going out for a half day or a day and taking photos, but there was a lot of caution, a lot of wariness that somehow they were doing something wrong, and so we didn't get as many as we had hoped for, and in the end it came down to a core group of about 4 or 6 of us that finished it off. The people were wonderful. If we met them at all, and often we didn't see anybody at home, they were curious, they were helpful, they were very encouraging. We had a few little bumps along the way, but they were minimal, and no lasting problems. No one, well, somebody threatened to have us arrested.
Minor detail.
Nothing important.
I did feel a quick call. They told me to do. I think that we just enjoyed the whole experience. We feel that we, as I say, that we live in a wonderful part of the world, and we have great resources here of landscape and people and all kinds of things. The work is done as far as the photography, and now Karen is going to give you a little snapshot of how she's putting it together, because the project will go online as part of the museum's resources, and you folks will have access to it, and as we will, and I guess a lot of other people eventually. So what we're hoping is 50 years from now, when maybe your grandchildren are sitting here, they'll have a resource and they can check back. They can see what was on this corner or what was on this street, what was on this particular lot. And now one thing, we did not go back and take new buildings. We had to make that decision because we knew we just didn't have the resources. So in about 2013, 2014, when suddenly a lot of new homes appeared in the township and in the town, those are not recorded. And it's just so you know if somebody complains that this wasn't on the thing. So again, thanks to all those who did help us. Their help was absolutely of great value to us, and to Karen especially, who has guided us through this project. She's so patient. When we would get discouraged or think we had a real problem ahead, there was always comfort in talking to Karen, and so I was a great pleasure to turn it over to Karen.
June asked how many photographs were taken. To date, there are about 1,600 that are available online. But the project is only about, I would say, a third complete. So I think altogether there's going to be probably about close probably to 5,000 images.
Wow.
Sometimes only, particularly in town, 1 or 2 shots needed to be taken for the houses, but for the rural properties, 3 or 4 were taken in order to capture the house as well as all of the outbuildings. So in terms of searching, all you have to do is Google County of Wellington. And if you go to the county page, at the top there's a tab that says Museum and Archives. And on the left-hand side it says Collections and Research. And then there's another tab that says Online Collections. We have a number of digital collections online, but these photographs from the Minto Heritage Association are in our collections catalog. Our collections catalog describes everything that is donated to the Museum and Archives, whether it's a dress or it's photographs like this collection. And there are a number of different ways to search, and I'm going to show you the most basic way. On the left-hand side, if you click on Archives, we can do a keyword search. So in quotation marks, because Minto Heritage Association is a phrase, I'm going to put it in quotation marks and type in Minto Heritage Association. Whoops, and spell it correctly. And hit enter or search. 19 results come up. And the way our collections catalog works is it works very much like a library catalog. You get a summary of records, and while the library system has a Dewey Decimal catalog, in the archives we use something called an accession number. So the A represents archives. 2001 is the year that a particular item or collection came in to the archives. And for example, here, this Harrison Tribune newspaper microfilm came in 2001, and it was the 16th item to come into the archives that year. If we click on this, it gives us a description. And these came up under the Minto Heritage Association because they donated the microfilm to the archives. So I'm just going to go back. And so there's a number of other things that the Minto Heritage Association has donated, but we want to get specifically into this photograph inventory. So I'm just going to add another qualifier. I'm going to say and inventory and hit search. And then 6 results have come up. Because there are so many photographs, I had to decide on some qualifiers or sort of break it down. So I've broken it down by municipality within the township, just alphabetically. So we have Clifford, and because there are so many photographs, I only limited it to 500 per record. So it's divided by streets, just alphabetically by street. So this first collection is Clifford from Allen Street to Alora Street. And then we have a descriptor. The number on the left is the photographic number. And then we have 3 Allen Street, for example. Or let's go with 11 Allen Street. So if you go over here on the left-hand side, and we click on that, you get a larger image. And you can just go ahead, and there is a caption at the bottom that just basically goes down the street in street address number order and shows you the images. If just going to go back now. If you have a specific address, I'm going to use 6 Ann Street and go and Clifford. It's going to go specifically to the record that has photographs of 6 Ann Street. And we can do a Control F search. Oops.
Why does the word "and" have to go in there?
It's a qualifier. It narrows down your search.
Okay, because if you just did comma, it wouldn't work, eh?
That's right.
Okay.
No. I'll just show you. If we just do 6 Ann Street, because
No,
that is
don't bother showing.
a phrase. Well, of course, there is only one 6 Ann Street, but if I just did without an address, Ann Street, and hit search, it's going to find any and all records. So there's 11 records that have the word and street, and that could be anywhere in Wellington County, other
Hillsburg.
records. So just by putting and in a further qualifier, you can narrow down your search. Okay.
No, Hillsburg. Hillsburg dot.
I'm just going to go to
Hillsburg.ca.
There you go.
just gonna go. So if we do Minto Heritage Association in Palmerston, we're getting a number of records. But because this collection was, I started cataloging it in 2017, at the very bottom is where we get Palmerston, and it's got Palmerston from Albert Street through to Main Street West. So again, you can do a Control F search and find your street name and the number, and just by hovering over, you see what number it is. Or once you find it, you can also just advance ahead. So I'm hoping by Christmas this year that I will have all of the images, and I'm estimating there's going to be probably close to 5,000 images that were taken. So we'll have a snapshot of the heritage, the built heritage in Wellington, in Minto Township, or the town of Minto, I should say, taken between 2012 and 2017. Okay.
Any questions
Any
for Karen?
questions?
Rich, if I may.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone who presented. June mentioned that she talked to me from time to time, but really my job was just to get out of the way and encourage her whenever they ran into dogs and landowners.
Oh, right.
And but what we have here is probably thousands and thousands of dollars of consulting work that would be needed to produce this kind of inventory. It's an inventory that could serve the municipality under the Ontario Heritage Act in the future if we wanted to get into designating properties and so forth. Now there's some elements that maybe would need to be added to, but it's very comprehensive, and I was really excited to see it in there. And all along I kept wondering, well, when can we help as a town staff? And they've basically done it all and got it loaded through Karen, and we certainly appreciate all their efforts because it's just something spectacular to have without really ratepayers having to pay much of anything. So fantastic to see it. So thank you.
And I'd just like to add, Karen, now we have the at the Palmerston Railway Museum, we have our reference library room. Make sure we have the how to get into this there, because we're getting people going in there and researching our books and everything else, and it's going to work really well for that. And hopefully, I believe the Harrison Historical Society too has a computer up there that people can use to reference. So we'll make sure we get how to do it there, so the volunteers know how to do it, and somebody comes in, because again, it's just a resource that, as Bill said, and he never likes to talk about his planning background, right? But he's a planner, so for him this is like candy, like having all this work done for a planning person, because it's all part of where we're at. And we can't spend enough time on our history and making sure that everybody knows. And as you say, a lot of new houses, a lot of new people. So it's kind of nice to have that heritage that they can go back and learn about the new community that they've moved into, because that's a great opportunity for them as well. I'm looking forward to it. And I noticed all those things about the papers and that, and we're working on a project. We'll throw that out there, that with the doing all the microfiche and downloading it into the computer for all the local papers. And thanks to your efforts, the Confederate's already done, I believe.
That's right.
And we're working on the review. And we need, this is a good little thing, we need volunteers to help us go down to the museum and move that stuff off, and to get the Palmerston Observer on and the Harrison Review. Because again, there's such a treasure in all those newspapers, and we can't keep the newspapers out for people because they'll fall apart, as we know, if they keep touching them. So to have it on a computer and be able to put it up like you have with the word search, get down to the archives. It's a lot of fun, isn't it?
That's right. So we are getting more and more resources online as well.
Yeah,
So.
and it's great to see the people coming today to help, that helped in the project. So from the council, I just want to thank you very much for all your work and hard effort. And Oh. Next up, we have, how are we going to do this? We're just going to present the checks. That's it. There's no big speeches or anything. No. Oh, good. Good. This is the fun part. So, as you may or may not be aware, the Mayor's Charity Golf Tournament was put on in August, and thanks everybody that participated and were there to play golf and to all the sponsors. And today we get to give out the checks to the 3 individuals. Do you want them all up at once, or why don't we bring everybody up at once? And it's the Palmerston Imperials Fast Pitch Team, Minto Safe Communities, and Youth for Christ, Youth Unlimited Minto. They can come up, and there's 2 checks in here because I did the math, and we started off with $4,200, but then there was an extra $300 bonus for all the hard work, so now you got $4,500 each.
Wow.
Fantastic.
All up together.
Boy.
Yeah, make sure I get there. They're all the same check. Except that we made everything there, right? Where do you want to go?
Photobomb it.
Oh, sure.
I like it over there.
Yeah, keep moving on.
Gordon, the committee, and all on the committees. When it was on.
I just took pictures.
Tanya's.
Do you mind if I come in?
Yeah.
Tanya has the meetings. Yeah, well, that's Photoshop. There we go. It's like you like each other. You like the money.
Just in case. What paper do you work for?
Thanks, everybody. You know what? I'm turning into one. One more. I just want to say, not only do we get to raise money, but we have a lot of fun. This is a great group to work with, and we have a lot of fun. A lot of fun, and the food is fantastic. Everybody talked about the food up there, and on top of it, Wayne wasn't able to be there at the event, but he was busy. And congratulations, we'll have another day for your group. You end up winning the Canadians. Oh, you can't hurt. But anyways, his basketball team, they won the Canadians, so that was really great to see.
We have the gold medal. Thank you.
Wow.
You can get that percentage.
No.
They didn't have it though.
Yeah, they did. Yep.
That's a trophy case. Well, there's my. Like, I've been looking at this briefcase for like 2 weeks since the last meeting.
Yep, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, we got her done.
You're lucky it wasn't 3.
I know. All right. Thanks, everybody. Where's my glasses?
My glasses. Oh, her husband's over 100. Maurice is over 100. Yeah.
Is he?
Wow.
I don't know. I had them. Oh, I had them.
I don't know how old. Whether she's she's younger than him, but I don't know how much. I think he's 104 or something.
Still works, so I don't know.
And still walks and volunteers at out there. Lives there.
I don't know. Wonderful.
Okay, public question period. Anybody got a question? Correspondence. Association, anybody got anything you want to pull there?
This dedicated person. I'm saying our dedicated person sitting here all day.
I know. Any correspondence? Anybody want to pull anything? Have somebody move the correspondence? Oh, sorry.
Sorry, can I just ask the St. John ambulance, does that just go on to our donation funding
Yeah, I think so.
request or?
Yep.
Okay.
Hold on. We wouldn't be donating it unless you made a motion to donate. So if
Okay.
you would like to
So we
donate,
haven't in the past?
Well, wouldn't it be
No,
under a
no, yeah.
$300 one?
$300.
$300 or less? Would that
Okay,
not?
but if I may, Mayor
Yep.
Bruce, just because we have a request, like the treasurer has not given a check, so we want your direction if you want to
Oh.
fund that.
How much were they asking for?
250, 500. It's kind of up to you to pick an amount. But they had listed 3 of them in there.
Well, and I would have thought, that's why I was wondering about it. Would it not have gone right through our normal procedure? I'm a little confused then.
Thank you, Your Worship. I think it's more because they've asked for more, so we like to throw it to council.
Oh.
And in the past, this is not one that we have. It's generally, not exclusively, but mostly Minto-only charities that we donate
Well,
to.
I think we've done
Yeah.
some regional ones. Like
we have done
I'm thinking of for instance, I think the one that safe
farm safety.
fires. Yeah, I would have
Yeah.
thought it fell into. So can I refer it back to
Crime
the policy and have them? I mean, or do you guys want to go more than what the policy would stand for? The policy's $300.
No, I
Stick
don't
to the
want
policy.
So can we have that direction to stick to the policy?
If you would like us to give a donation on the town's behalf, it would be $300.
Sure, we can do that.
Or less.
Or the 250 if that's the one that
250.
Yeah, the
50.
250.
250.
With me.
250 would make sense. It would fall into. That's why I was wondering why it was here, but that I was.
It's
should have
more
asked
because
that.
they asked for more.
Okay, because they asked for 500 possibly. So okay,
Or 1,000.
or 1,000. So
Okay.
direction to go back through our policy. Then can I have that, Mary Lou?
Sure.
Jean, all in favor?
The air
Okay,
conditioning.
thanks. And we still have funding left in there. Yep.
I'll make a motion on the correspondence.
Moved by Councillor Elliott, correspondence. Deputy Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Committee minutes. Saugeen Valley Conservation Authority committee minutes. Any questions on those? Somebody move them. If somebody move the minutes, Councillor Elliott, Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? Carried. Next up, economic development. Hey, Belinda. Up.
So this was a fairly lengthy meeting because we hadn't met over the course of the summer, but lots of exciting things happening. Just to highlight, this Friday is the Live to Lead event. So it was very great event last year. So if you don't have your tickets yet, please join us. Following that, we're having kind of like a think tank about Launch It with some of our key partners. And I believe there's close to 20 people coming to that at the Roundhouse to help us plan some future stuff for Launch It. So that's exciting. We're also fairly close on launching our regional profile page on the FarmLink website. We'll be the first region to do that. So we're kind of excited about that opportunity. Some of the other things that I wanted to highlight in here is our Filipino project. We do have a first draft of our video. I'm not going to show it to you. I'm going to wait till we have the final draft completed, but we're really close. We had a great event on Sunday as part of Culture Days. We had about 40 people come out and watch some videos about the Philippines and some of the top spots to visit and have some delicious food. And yeah, we'll be meeting with Foodland shortly to go over bringing some Asian food into the community. So we're excited about that. And they're such nice people, so we're excited to bring more to the community. Industrial land update. We have another land sale coming in open today. As you know, we've all been really busy with that sort of thing, which is great to see. Structural grant, there is a recommendation in here. So this is for Jeremy Ide's property, which is beside the Harriston Library. And Jeremy's done quite a bit of work there. So the committee has approved a $10,000 grant. So if you approve these minutes, then that will go through. And we have about $7,200 remaining in our CIP budget. So we're looking for people still to apply for facade, signage, or structural intake. So if anyone's listening, we still have some money left to give out. I think that was all I wanted to highlight from these minutes. Any questions?
Just a comment through you, Mayor. I believe the this would be a good time to talk about the change of date of the Santa Claus parade, because it's going to be coordinated with the Light Up the Town,
No.
correct? Oh, that's
No.
changed.
So the
Because
Harrison
I got
Santa
notified
Claus,
of that.
the Harrison Santa Claus parade has been changed from their original date, but it will not be held in conjunction with Light Up the Town.
Okay.
It will be Saturday, November 18th at 7 p.m.
It's a night parade.
It is a
No,
night
I
parade.
realize that.
Initially,
I
there
told
was
originally.
there was some
Yeah, it was
discussion.
going to
So
originally.
is that, just out of that, is that not also the Clifford Parade?
No,
Oh, it's a different date now?
It's
the
2 weeks
Clifford
later.
Parade is the last Saturday in
Okay,
November.
because it
and the
used to be that
Palmerston-
we always went to Clifford Parade right after the Harrison
Right.
Parade, right? So, no, okay, that, somebody asked about that the other day.
Ron,
Okay.
you probably read that in the Harrison Revite minutes that were attached because we were talking about that.
That's possible.
Yeah, that's probably where you read it because we
Okay.
did discuss that, and then they decided to go a different route. So it's going to be a busy week. There's going to be lots of events that week. There's Light Up the Town, Ladies' Night, Light Up the Park, and then the parade in Harrison. So there's 4 different events.
A lot of light.
By the way.
A lot of lighting.
Busy community.
Yes. Okay, we're good.
Good.
Anything else? Nope. Great. Motion to accept. Councillor Anderson, Dirksen, all in favor? Carried. Parks and Rec. Wanna- I guess
Thank you,
turn it
Mayor
over to
Bridge.
if you want.
So
We don't do that.
we met last week at the Lions Clubhouse, and it was our first meeting since last June. So we had a pretty big agenda as well. Just with respect to council follow-up on the tough truck, we can get into that in a little more detail in a minute when we review the report that follows these minutes. At the Norgan, the 70th celebrations went well in August. There was lots of traffic at the Railway Museum prior to our feature show. And we actually had some people in the crowd that attended the first show back in '47, so it was kind of neat to not
There's
single
about
them out, but
6,
point
I think
them out.
6 or
and
7 people that, put their hands up.
There
6 or 7 people.
there was quite a few.
I didn't see the first one, Bill. Sorry.
And then we
We had one of the original
ushers.
Ushers, yes.
That was
Yes,
really
he
neat.
was a great guy.
Yeah, it was a fun day, and it was a neat event. And it was also the launch of the George Norgan story, the book that was written by Dave Wilson. And we do have limited quantities of those books available for sale here at the town office and also at the theater directly. So yeah, things are still going fairly well at the theater. And
I've managed to get through my read on that, and he's just a totally amazing man that I never would have thought. I mean, I've always known that he gave money to the thing, but to all the things he was in, the golfing and the head of the raceway and working with Bill Cosby, with Bing Crosby and all that other stuff. Amazing. Not Bill Crosby, Bing Crosby. Bing.
Bing Crosby and being in the Curling Hall of Fame as well is
Curling Hall of Fame,
something I didn't
amazing
even
guy.
realize. So yeah, and then just with regard to this fall, we've got a couple of programs starting up again right after Thanksgiving. We're going to be doing our grassroots hockey program in Clifford again on Sundays, and we've also got our grassroots basketball program that's going to start up again at Norwell. So it's great to offer those 2 programs. Again, with the basketball, it's neat that the school lets us in for free so that we can offer the program for free, and that we've got great volunteers again, the same volunteers that have been there, I think, 8 years strong now, Aaron and Vince, to help run that program. And just prepping some service measures from all of the summer programs that we ran. It was a busy summer, and for the November budget meeting, we'll have some more details about how pool, day camp, and some of the other grassroots programs in the summer went for both adults and children. With respect to the facilities, Palmerston's ice was installed and ready to go for Monday, September 11th, and the ice in Harrison and Clifford should be ready for the Tuesday after Thanksgiving. The fellas are probably working on the ice as we speak. With regard to some of our other facilities, both pools have been winterized for the year. And just with respect to the Harrison pool, a report will be forthcoming from either myself or from Al, just with respect to the short and long-term plans for that facility and how it'll be funded. There was a decent chunk of the minutes allocated to what's happening there. And again, we've had on and off conversations with the Harrison Kinsmen about what type of contribution they might be able to provide, because that's something that's obviously been of interest to them over the years. Just with respect to some of the other usage this summer, we had some great events. from the Clifford Truck Show to the Clifford Homecoming to the Jeff Davey Memorial 3-pitch tournament to the Kinsman tournament and just the U14 Canadian Fast Pitch Championships. It was busy summer for the facilities staff, and it was great to see the facilities used as much as they were. Kind of leading into that, we do have a new staff person with us, and his name's Terry Wheeler. He just started a little over a month ago, I think, and he'll be stationed at Harrison for the bulk of the winter, working out of the facility there. And then just with regard to smoke machines at the bottom of page 2, by accepting these minutes, you'll give us the go-ahead to revise our rental policy documents to ban smoke machines. Some DJs bring them in for added effect, but twice this year we've had the fire alarms go off, false alarms go off, due to, I think, condensation in the heat sensors. So we don't want to ruin the fun, but we don't want any more false alarm calls. We also looked at some parking lot layouts, the ones that were presented to you in June for Clifford and Harrison, just to keep the rec committee up to date. And just with respect to concession booth pricing, Greg, in his new role here with us at the town, temporary role that is looking after stocking all 3 concessions. That'd be Palmerston Arena, Harrison Arena, and the Norgan Theatre. He's also looking after scheduling the arenas, and we'll reevaluate that at the season's end and see how it went. Also, he has taken the lead on the centralized booking process that we instituted at the beginning of this year. And so with respect to the Mapleton Minto 81s not having a season this year, he's actually been able to fill pretty much all of the ice we lost from that group not playing this season. Minor hockey's taken on an extra hour's ice, and we've actually been able to get some more local men's rec hockey teams just to play their home games out of Minto. So more or less, we're no further ahead or behind. And then hopefully next year, when they come back, we can sort of move them around to some of the open ice times we have and increase the statistics there. And just with regard to member terms, we have one PRAC member's term come up at the end of each year, so we'll just go through the normal process to see if we can find another township rep. And if not, we'll see if Dorothy'd like to remain on for another term on the committee. Any questions?
Motion to accept. Ferguson, Councilor Caldwell, all in favor? Thanks, Matt.
Okay.
Staff reports, recreation service. Oh, you're right there, Matt. Can you just stay right there?
Yeah, yeah, that didn't go anywhere.
Well, that was planned. Well done. Annalene, did you work that out so that he didn't have to move?
Appreciate that too. So the Tough Truck event report is a follow-up to the May 16th delegation by the Harrison Kinsmen and the staff report and PRAC minutes that came here on July 25th. So in a nutshell, an agreement has been made and signed by both the Ag Society and the Kinsmen, basically to let the Kinsmen keep a couple of permanent obstacles in place from one year to the next while they're running their Tough Truck event. It covers areas such as maintenance and insurance, and the actual original site layout that came here was modified slightly after consultation with the Maitland Valley Conservation Authority. That's just on the top of page 2 there. You'll see that I believe the stone garden and the buried logs got flip-flopped. And I'm not sure if anyone was able to make it to the Tough Truck event or see any of the videos from their Facebook page, but pretty much all the temporary obstacles have been removed. The ground's been regraded. It actually looks pretty good. They definitely benefited from the weather cooperating during setup, the event itself, and teardown. So basically all that's left are the buried logs and the stone garden at this point.
Questions? Motion to accept the report. Councilor Elliott, Councilor Anderson, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, here we go.
I'm gonna control the PowerPoint.
Yep. Oh,
If you want.
So I just gotta put
Paul's
my mic
here,
on.
back from Ottawa.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, you make sure you got the mics going there if you're how you're gonna do the mics. Pick it up, Paul.
Switch over to light show here.
No smoke machine.
Welcome. There we go. Oh, there we go. What do we got there?
That's doing the magic over there.
That's working. Controller here,
That doesn't like me. Slides.
Well.
Control.
Pull our own slides.
You know when you're done talking.
Are you ready to trade the change?
Yeah, the login code.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got switched to Minto Media.
Lightning is
Paul, do you want to do a soft shoe?
I would have rehearsed something if I know we need.
Oh, it's not connecting.
I'm out.
Up, so you have to flip her.
Yeah.
It is Minto Media.
Those got knocked out too.
It went out.
If we want
I'll
to
just
start
join
with.
you.
That would be very ironic. You got to do the
Kind of
turning.
looking forward to it.
Well, you can flip it over, Bill. It's fine.
Oh, no, let's see.
Yeah.
It's on mine. You could tell it's
Yeah, you can come and see it here.
Okay. Well, while we're waiting, perhaps Paul can tell you about his experience in Ottawa at the Communities in Bloom conference.
Yeah, so that was kind of like a holiday for me, rather than work. So it's kind of cool. I went in September to the National Grounds and Parks Conference, which is tied to the Communities in Bloom's National Awards. So they have a symposium with tours and presentations and banquets and all sorts of fun stuff, and rubbing shoulders with people who have similar interests in that. So it ran from Wednesday to the Saturday in Ottawa. So I went up for the Friday, Saturday. Kind of that gave me a chance to see some of the tour gardens. I just wasn't wanting to be away for the whole time of it, and so I went up for the Friday and the Saturday. And on the Friday, there were 4 busloads of us. There was quite a number of people, and it was primarily Canadians who participate in the Communities in Bloom. So there were people from coast to coast there, but there was some international as well from Italy, Ireland, the States, and I think what the other one. One more, it'll come to me. But there were some international presenters as well. Belgium, I believe, was the 4th one. So we did tours of like the National Capital Commission, so Rideau Hall. So that's pretty cool, where the Governor General lives. Some of the history behind that. There's all the trees that they're all labeled with plaques. So different heads of states have planted those. So that's pretty neat to see that this red oak tree was planted by JFK in the early 60s, and so it was pretty cool history. So I'll maybe elaborate a little bit more on that when we get to some of the slide. Anybody who knows me, I like to take pictures of stuff that's pretty to look at. So Belinda was kind enough to tack a few of those onto the end of the report that we got from the judges. So I'll elaborate on that when we get to that point.
Sure. So you all probably saw the press release that Communities in Bloom issued. So you'll know that we were awarded 5 leaves. So this year we were in the special edition of Canada's 150th. So instead of blooms, it was leaves. So we got 5 blooms and silver. So you'll see the 2013 score compared to 2017 score. Goderich and Stratford received gold. We were only 2.3% away from receiving gold, but we were right in there with Toronto and Calgary in this ranking. So that's pretty cool considering how small we are, and obviously we're not on water and don't have the Stratford Festival and things like that. So
and if you we don't have that tourism tax.
Yes, the destination marketing fees, and yeah.
Well, Stratford too.
Did you want to say something about that?
Still cleaning up
Okay.
after a flood.
So then each community receives like a special mention for something, and our special mention was for the Green Legacy program. Rob Johnson was kind enough to come out. There's quite a bit in our community profile about Green Legacy because trees is a big component of the judging for this. So Rob Johnson was kind enough to come out the day we did the judging and we managed to get him to only talk for like 20 minutes, I think, but he got the point across, and so we did receive special mention. So Mayor Bridge, if you could pass that along to the county and their thanks for participating with us in this. So general comments that they provided. Sorry, just trying to get this down. Okay, so these, I'm not going to read them, but because you can read and you've read them. But basically, they're really happy with how well all of our groups work together, and like we all know that nothing can be accomplished by ourselves, and it takes that collaboration and everyone pitching in, and our strong volunteerism. They were pleased with our heritage sites, and they did point out about aging volunteers and that being an issue, and had suggestions on how we could encourage people to come out and help us. And of course, they commented on our very knowledgeable tour guides. So thanks to Paul and Gord for tagging along with me. And also thank you to all the people that came out during the tour, because they all were so great in yes, of course, Councillor Elliott and Elaine at the Norgan, and Vic and Trish at the Hort Society in Clifford. Like, there's just so many people. The folks at Pike Lake, the library, everyone just brought out their top guns to help us with this. So it was really helpful. In terms of the sections, so environmental action is based out of 200 points. We scored 164. They definitely commented on all of these things that we do for environmental stuff, and it was a big component of our community's profile because it is such a large number of points. And just some pictures of trees for Minto at Steckley's property, and then the tree planting at TG Minto, which they were quite impressed with as well. So some key actions or recommendations that they provided were considering expanding the use of hybrid vehicles in the municipal fleet now that we have a charging station in Clifford. They suggest we look at some short and long range plans for that. And then also to review the landfill diversion rate. So having some sort of a challenge where we can encourage Minto residents to recycle and stuff like that, and working with our local newspapers to keep people up to date on how we're doing with that. Heritage, this was out of 100 points, and we scored 84. They commented on our cultural roundtable, which is a group that we're very proud of, and not very many people have these sorts of groups. So that was nice that they made reference to that, including the representation of youth on this committee. Commented on Culture Days, which was just last weekend here in Minto. Our Heritage Marker program, our structural grant program, we did take them to the Old Post and highlight that project. So they were very impressed with that. And how our Downtown Revite Committee works with local heritage groups and businesses to work things out in terms of that sort of thing. So recommendations they had for that. Well, this was interesting, yeah. Specifically in Hairston, I guess we did a walking tour in downtown Hairston, so they pointed out the heritage buildings down there and having a brochure, that our plaque program doesn't have specific guidelines, but we do have specific guidelines. They're just not posted on the website right now, so they probably couldn't track those down. Expanding the memorial tree program to the old Rotary Park, and then planting a tree in honor of the graduating classes. This is what I was talking about, was like the big urban forestry landscape component, 525 points. It's a lot. When it's called Communities in Bloom, it's not really showcasing what this program's all about. So we scored 442 points, and there's some cute kids in these pictures. That probably scored us some points there. So yeah, they just commented that we're very active in this. They commented with Green Legacy program, Trees for Minto, TG Minto's afforestation project, obviously very impressive. The Palmerston Lions and the Memorial Tree Park. Obviously, they're very impressed with Paul. How could you not be? And all of our new entrance signs, they commented on that, joked a little bit about why don't we have Town of Minto as the big word across the side or across the sign, and then have little Palmerston or Hairston or Clifford. I said, oh no, you can't do that.
Well, you could, but would.
Yeah, we're not going there. So I convinced him not to put that into the report. Yeah.
Next time.
But they did really, they liked our signs and the landscaping. And Councillor Faulkner or Deputy Mayor Faulkner had asked the other day about landscaping the Palmerston signs, and we're doing that next year in case anyone else was. We're going to try. Oh, we're going to try and get it done this fall, actually. Okay. I thought we were doing it next year. So keep going down here. So recommendations that they had were consider expanding the tree inventory. So not just having the trees that are on the streets, but those in the parks. So, oh goodness, sorry. Usually I have like my PowerPoint, not the PDF. So they made a comment about the trees that are planted in the sidewalks in downtown and making sure we have enough space around them for growth and stuff like that. But also we don't really want the trees to grow too big. So it's kind of like, and putting a sign at TG Minto explaining what that project was about and the number of volunteers, and then adding an arboretum at one of the schools. So that was their suggestions there. Floral, so this is what I'm talking about points. Only 175 points are put into the floral category, and we scored quite well on that with 152. They just commented on the numbers, so that's interesting for those of you that don't know. We do maintain, or I don't, Paul and his team maintain 90 hanging baskets, 50 planter boxes, 8 bridge boxes, and 30 urns, and that's just our planted stuff. We went with the Canada 150 colors for this year, and also tied in the Clifford Homecoming colors, so that worked well. And then they highlighted, thanks to the donation of the Palmerston Home Hardware for the tulips, the horticultural societies, and the Adopt a Bed program, and all their help with the entrance signs, and then the Garden of the Month program, Jean. So recommendations they had were that Hairston's becoming a destination, and they suggested adding a floral display in front of the library. So Paul has pictures at the end of this of some floral displays you might want to consider. And the Garden of the Month, they had suggestions for adding to that, and potentially adding some more staff to the summer team, because they have a lot, and it continues to grow, of stuff to maintain. So eventually we're either going to have to stop adding projects for them to do or add more help for them. So they recognized that, seeing everything that was happening. So just want to thank Jack and Gaetan for being our judges and coming here. They were definitely entertaining. And it really is a team effort here, involved all departments. So like public works people making sure our weeds, and they were out that morning trimming around signs and stuff, and all the work that they do, and our rec staff, and just everybody. It was really team effort to put this to get all together. Of course, the community volunteers, the Hort societies, our businesses that came out, and just everyone was so good when we asked them to come and participate. Nobody said no, that they didn't have time. They made time. So this really was a huge community effort. So I'm going to turn this over to Paul to showcase his photos from Ottawa.
Yeah, and just kind of as a side note too, and part of being involved with the whole Communities in Bloom judging and the lead up to that, that was my first experience to that. And so I actually really enjoy being part of the tour too, because I get to hear histories and connections and all sorts of things about buildings and groups and places that I didn't know about the municipality too. So that was pretty cool. And it is kind of interesting, as Belinda noted too, that we think of Communities in Bloom so much about, you drive down the main street and how weed free and pretty all the flowers look, right? But there's so much more to it, and that's just a small fraction of it. But for me, going to Ottawa, it kind of was funny, because I would say the focus of the awards and that, other than a few specialties who are given to certain categories, I would say like everybody is there to see pretty gardens. That's what they really do want to see. But this year they hosted the awards in Ottawa because of Canada's 150th. So it was, like I said, it was a cool sort of vacation for me to be able to go and see that. I've been to Ottawa a handful of times myself, but it's been a little while since I've been there. So so that I just happened to take that of Parliament. Actually, another one of the cool things that was not part of the program that I was able to take in was they do a program called the Northern Lights. I don't know if anybody else is familiar with that. So they project a show onto the face of the Parliament buildings at dark each evening. So there was probably, like, it was a beautiful evening. It was actually a lovely weekend. Like, people were wishing they had packed shorts for the tours now, because it was very hot that weekend. But you just sat on the lawn, so it was perfect to sit out after dark. It was a perfect temperature, and so we actually caught the last night of that there, so that was kind of nice. But the Friday there were several tours. I had missed the Thursday tours, but on the Friday we did. I was saying Rideau Hall and Commissioners Park. The top 2 photos there are from Commissioners Park. So you can imagine we actually have the space to do some of these almost on the same scale. We just don't have the manpower resources unless I do a 24-hour day and can strong arm some of the students into that too. But I just really enjoyed taking some photos and getting some ideas of stuff that we could do on our scale. So that was fun. Yeah, that was actually something I went and did on Saturday when we had a couple of hours before the awards presentation. So one of the tours that I did miss by not being there on the Thursday was a project they called Mosaic Canada 150. So they'd done something similar in, I believe, the Montreal Botanic Gardens the previous year, and I'd heard reference of it. So the mosaic being all the plants form a sculpture. And the scale is unheard, like you can't fathom it until you've been there. And Gord said he has been there, and I think Janet said she had been there as well. So what I'm hoping to do, I start sending Belinda pictures. I'm sure she's like, stop. So I just sent her a selection of these. I took lots, and I think what I'll do just to help let the horticulture societies know who are the members who may be interested in this sort of thing, because they may not have all, or I'm sure plenty of them didn't get a chance to see this sort of thing or even be aware of it. So I'm going to try and do a thumb drive or a PowerPoint presentation that I may be able to spare some time to go and show that to them, or share that with them that they can look at their leisure too. But this sculpture park is there for one season. That's the part that's crazy to me, and the scale of it would blow your mind. So you walk through, and they're celebrating the 150th. It's a train station. You walk through, so it's like the Rail Museum we've got in Palmerston, but completely coated in plants. So everything is living. It's all live plants. You walk through there, and you see. Could you back up to one more? Yeah, at the bottom there's one more. The train has 4 cars to it, and those are all like full scale with a sea of sunflowers in front of it. So it blows your mind to see that. And so what they've done in the first little bit is they've dedicated Canada being kind of built by the rail, and they visit every province. So every province, something to do with their history or their culture, they've done a sculpture that's representative of that. So you weave your way through a massive display, and I'm going to guess the entire exhibit was probably 12 to 15 acres. These were massive, like millions of dollars to do. So people who had realized I wasn't there on the Thursday said, if you don't see anything else, go across the bridge to Gatineau and see this exhibit. So I was glad I did. So yeah, if you want to move ahead, Belinda. So they went through all of the provinces and territories. And so you think you're kind of done. You're like, wow, that was an incredible exhibit. And then you wind through a few trees and more of the park, and you realize we're not done yet. And so there were about 40 exhibits. The one that was most impressive would be the bottom right. Actually, both on the bottom, but the bottom right was kind of the culmination of it all, just before you did the exit, and that's Mother Nature. And so I included that photo that was set back a bit, just so you can see the scale of the plantings ahead of that. So there's thousands of individuals just of that one plant ahead of that, and the people to see the size of her. So they're not up to her shoulder. And so that exhibit alone, that one sculpture with the horses were part of that, and they had buffalo and deer, and her hand is holding out a waterfall that falls into a pond. The pond would be twice the size of this room. Her full exhibit would have been twice the size of our parking lot out there. So it was totally overwhelming, and I was glad I got to go and see that. That was super cool. So you get lots of ideas for things that you can do on your own scale. And I'll try not to take too much more of your time, because everyone who's passionate about something we want to keep going, right? So there's lots of other people who have things they want to say too. So thank you very much for sending me to that. I actually was considering not going because it's a busy time, and I'm leaving tomorrow night to go to India for 2 weeks for vacation, and so thinking I didn't really want to be away, but I got a call from a couple of people one morning who said, actually, you really don't want to go. So the mayor and Belinda had said, I think you should go, just in case they're like, something we win an award. It's good to rub shoulders, so show people that we're interested in the program. So I was glad I did, because I got to meet some other people and talk to some other people and hear how they're doing things too. So that was fun. And so thank you for changing my mind.
Awesome.
Any questions?
No, just a comment. And I'm glad you went too, Paul. And I wanted you to go because you've put a lot of work and effort into this whole thing. Without your leadership in the last year, and I know the council has been really happy with our progress as we're going, and and the fact that we have somebody year round now that can develop this thing. So I'm looking forward to having Deputy Mayor Faulkner's face out in a park somewhere next year or something, or maybe we'll have that up for a vote and figure out who's going to be there. But
with the Muskellux.
Yeah. Anyways, but and that's what these things are about. Like when we go to these things, is you get the networking thing, and that's so important. And I know you did it on your own time on Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and you put a lot of time and effort. And just thank your staff when I know some of them have gone back or whatever, but when you get talking to them, we're really thrilled for what we've created here. And as Belinda said, and as you've said, it's more than just flowers. It's creating this ideal spot that people want to come and live and enjoy. And I think Minto, I think it was June talked about it earlier, going around talking, taking the pictures, and we take time to stop and look. We realize we really have a really little gem here that we probably don't appreciate enough sometimes, because we look at other places and whatever close to home is always tougher to appreciate. But you've created an amazing spot here for us, and really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Just quickly, I was talking to Paul several times. He's always busy in our park in back of my house, and
are you doing your gardening?
Yes. Yeah. I asked him to, but he seems to have no time. I don't understand. And we were discussing he's, as mentioned earlier, we don't have enough staff to be able to keep up with the inventory we have across our community, including our park. And Palmerston, he was mentioning that one person would probably work 40-hour a week to be able to even keep up with what's happening just in our park alone in Palmerston. So since that, we mentioned that we were going to talk to the Lions Club, and Lions Club had been discussing this in the past. Our Lions Club had pretty well, we keep saying it, we've completed another project, and we're not going to take on another major project. I think we're almost to that area now, and since I've been talking to Dave Wilson, who's the head of it all, as far as the horticultural end of it, park area, we are going to recommend to our executive and to our Lions Club that we create a maintenance group. We know we have several new Lions that are interested in horticulture, and we don't have a horticultural society per se in Palmerston, which we do in Harrison, and Clifford has one too. So we're hoping to be able to create different groups to help maintain the work that we've done and help you in your projects, because man, your people work so hard and do such a great job. I feel sorry for you, the amount of work that you have to do. So that's one thing when we're talking, that maybe we could create a group out of a group that's already there instead of trying to create a new horticultural group.
Yeah, so I mean, if you wanted to include me in on any of those meetings,
I'm hoping that maybe if it comes down to it, we may have you out to a Lions meeting and do a presentation.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be helpful, because I think that's the park is becoming a lovely space. Tons of people use it. Yes. You want to, as you expand, that you don't want to push past the bubble bursting, right? You have too much that you can't keep it under reasonable control. Right. So I think
we're to that now, and if we can get people to help you.
Well, and to be honest, I feel guilty a little bit too. Like this year, we've had a really hard time keeping up to the new water features. So it's kind of like treading water with where you've been at before, where the benchmark was. And so, yeah, it'd be great if we can get some more people that are willing. And I'm sure there's lots of people who are willing to help out. They've got a bit of time. It's just some direction and organization.
Well, I thought I'd mention that so you don't feel overwhelmed and you want to run away from us.
Go on vacation and not feel so bad.
Yeah. All right.
And thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Ken. Thank you. Enjoy your vacation.
Yes. Well deserved.
Belinda, you're still up.
I'll just stay up here. Yep. So land sale. Here we are again. So this land sale is with J&A DeVries Construction. It is for the last remaining lot on Frank Lambier Court. Alfred is proposing to build a 6,000 square foot building for rental purposes. You would be familiar with his work because he is the contractor for Felix and Bernice for both their existing building and the one under construction. It's pretty straightforward. yeah, it's 15,000 an acre, and that's what he has offered, and he's ready to roll. So that's it. That's my report. Do you have any questions?
It's an interesting map to look at that map and see where we are after how many years.
Yes, like obviously we're very quickly running out of land, and so we definitely need to be looking at the 2018 budget and servicing Noble Road to open up some more small parcels of land. And so yeah, it should be a very interesting 2018 budget discussions.
Just basically everything's sold on that side now.
Yes, we have sold everything except for the certified site on that side of the road. And a little bit behind there.
Questions, comments? Motion to accept the report. Deputy Mayor Faulkner, Councillor Dirksen, all in favor? Thank you. And this is yours, Bill. Legion parking lot.
Thank you, Mayor Bridge. I've been corresponding over the summer with the Harriston Legion about the condition of their parking lot. I don't think it was helped by the 3 or 4 feet of water that was on it in June. They would like to get some improved maintenance, basically repaving it. But we've been in a partnership for many years, I think, at that site, but there's never really been a formal agreement. So using the agreement we have with as a model from Harry Stone's, this is a great arrangement for the municipality because we pay for maintenance and care. We don't have to buy the land, and we get more parking in our downtown areas. So they've agreed and signed the agreement, and our recommendation is that we budget to do this work next year in 2018, and that would include they would like a flagpole and some improved signage and a little bit of landscaping along the roadway. So there's a sketch included in the report and in the agreement, and they've consented to that, and so we're recommending that we proceed to sign the agreement, and that bylaw would be at the next council meeting.
Questions, comments?
I just have one comment. When they're paving that, they need to take care of the ledge going up to the wheelchair ramp, because at present time it's unavailable without somebody to help you.
Yes.
It's just this much of a ledge, but it stops a wheelchair.
Good point.
So when they're looking, and they need to move the opener to the other side of the door, beyond the door, if they're doing all sorts of improvement. Right.
I'll let Legion know. But I'm definitely the lip will get fixed.
Well, it's just up on the sidewalk, but if they're
I know.
playing, you get up to the sidewalk, but then you've got to go around a lip, and there's this much of a lip, and it stops.
Do you remember, Mary Lou, on when we put the door at the back, there was money.
There was an issue why they couldn't do that.
Yeah, there was
an issue of why we couldn't do that.
I can't remember what it was.
Yeah,
but anyway, minor improvements, but it makes a difference between somebody needing assistance to get in there and being able to get there unassisted.
Yeah,
somebody pressing it and burning the opener out.
It's beyond the door.
Yeah,
and then you have to back down the ramp to let the door open so that you can then get past the idea.
There was some issues with it when they put it in. I know that. Somebody.
I forget what it was.
Anyways, but yeah, the parking lot certainly be it's been needed to, and we've had no agreement, but I think this is great that we're having an agreement now. We can do it the same as Harry Stone. So looking forward to getting that done. A motion to accept the report. Councillor Anderson. All in favor? Planning. James Street. Oh, this is yours.
Mayor Bridge, I guess I could do that. We have the chief building official here. If we can. You recall you had a joint public meeting on the official plan and zoning bylaw amendment. Subsequently, that went back to the county, and they have adopted the official plan amendment number 105. So the recommendation is that you now adopt the zoning amendment as drafted by the county manager of planning and environment.
Right. Motion to accept, or any questions first? Motion to accept. Councillor Elliott, Mayor Faulkner, all in favor? I'll turn it over to Councillor Caldwell.
Hey. And the Finance Committee has 3 items on the agenda tonight. The first item, as Treasurer Duff is making his way up, is a tax collector and treasurer section 357 applications. I turn it over to Treasurer Duff.
Thanks, Chair Caldwell. So for 357s, those are ones where there's usually been a change to the property, either in use or in actuality or that. And several of them are actually purchases by the town of Minto over the past couple of years. So from a tax point of view, unfortunately, that mainly means we go exempt. So, but they're all very small properties anyway. So different trails and that. We've got some demolitions of sheds and some other ones that are used to be commercial and they're no longer commercial. We're checking on some of them, and the amounts are relatively small compared to what we have been dealing with. $1,000 in total for our share.
Okay. Are there any questions? Yes.
Yeah, through you, Councillor Caldwell. That I know we dealt with this type of thing last meeting as well on a larger scale. Is this like items that have come in addition to?
Yeah, the ones that we had the last one, it's more from appeals or assessment review boards or that. And in general, those are larger. These are more, you took down a shed or something.
Okay. Yeah. Good. Thank you.
You'll notice it in the next item as well when we talk about the budget changes. So the recommendation is the council receives the September 2017 report from the treasurer and tax collector regarding Section 357 applications, and that these applications be approved. Deputy Mayor Faulkner, seconded by Mayor Bridge. All in favor? And the motion is passed. And the next item on our agenda is one that I, first of all, want to thank Treasurer Duff for very much. It's our strategic review for our budget, and I think it's fantastic that we do this quarterly. I know that there's a lot of entries that are made on a semi-annual, annual basis, so it doesn't always give you a clear picture, but it gives you an idea of where we were last year compared to this year, where we are towards the budget. And I thank Treasurer Duff and his staff for all the work involved in this. So I'll turn it over to you two.
Sure. Thanks, Chair Caldwell. And as you say, it's an imperfect tool, but it's certainly better than not looking in detail at all. So I kind of cut it off at the end of July just because that was when most of the postings were made, and with our changes in council meeting schedules, I thought that would be the most useful cutoff. So I guess just as a predecessor, as we know, we had the June 23rd flood, and we will likely be bringing a report forward to the next council meeting. We are very close to the magic 3% level, and we have to get a few more projections in to see. So for now, any expenses that we have put in the flood have been entered as like 100% cost as well. And we're hopeful that some of it will be covered by insurance. Yes.
Can I just ask, what takes priority, insurance or the provincial grant?
The insurance, because it has to be
150 after insurable claims.
Exactly, and that's the issue, because hopefully, like virtually everything at this building at the Harrison Town shop will be covered by insurance, and then we don't consider it here. It's more the things out primarily in the rural areas that won't be covered, and things that aren't maybe specifically noted in your insurance policy. And there are the other kind of restrictions that we went through with the ice storm, whereas like if you have a tree, cutting the tree down is eligible, getting rid of the stump is not eligible. Staff time, certainly regular hours aren't eligible. Overtime that staff would take as time in lieu, not eligible, only overtime paid out. There's a lot of restrictions. We have to hit the $150,000 in eligible costs not covered by insurance, and only then do we start to actually get in. So
this budget right here has some of the actual costs in them.
Yes,
but no recovery.
That's right. That's correct. Yeah. So again, it's tricky.
Yes, Deputy Mayor Fulton. Deputy.
Nope.
No, sorry.
The other one.
Counselor Elliott. It was Ron. There's a Ron. There's a Ron. Yes, Counselor Elliott.
So when will we know how much insurance we're getting?
Well, we're going to have to get. Yeah, I think we're close. I know CEO has had several conversations, but we don't have a final figure yet. and I kind of need that within the next, say, 10 days. So we'll put a push on to the
Are we
insurance
getting a lot of
company.
cooperation about
I
that?
think
Or because
so.
other communities will be involved for sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
If I may, I don't think the issues with our insurer or any of the adjusting work is getting the contractor. And I think that's the same problem that everybody's
Yeah.
Everybody's got that.
Yeah.
We've got the basement half done and the shop half done,
Well, until we're done,
and so yeah, and even our bridge that we repaired through fire, we're still getting that revenue from the insurance company hasn't all come in because we've just put our invoices all through. So.
Yeah, like I know when this happens, we got 120 days. That's actually not that long by the time we gather all the information. So that's where we're at there too.
And do we have many of our taxpayers
I've
that
had
are?
very little, to be honest.
Okay.
Like we're designated as an area, and that
Right.
was our role, and we had that. I know the mayor and several of us toured them around. They'd seen enough in like 3 hours, and they made the determination reasonably quickly. So it's open to our residents, but I personally have had very little number of inquiries on it. Again, it's to cover the basics, especially for people that don't have insurance.
Exactly.
Like, it's a good program, and I hope people take advantage of it and all the information.
So they still can take advantage
Yes,
of it.
they can.
How do they take advantage?
They have to apply through the Ministry of Municipal Affairs on their website. It's very distinct from the municipal program. It's purely between the provincial government and the resident or the business.
So
or
if they
whatever.
called into the office,
Well, we
you
could
guide
refer
through
them,
it.
certainly.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Through the website.
Yeah, through the website. And we're trying to make sure people realize we help, but it's not us, right? They have to do it themselves. So.
Right.
That's right.
December 1st.
Till December
So
1st.
December 1st.
So
okay.
maybe we'll have to try to get some more communication out there. And again,
Yeah, I don't know if there's more advertising. Again, this is a new program for the provincial government too. So, well, hopefully it'll be noted in the media, and I know we're trying to publicize it within our media too.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
yeah. So anyway, that's just a bit of a backdrop. We have done some of our allocations, like our annual insurance has been allocated, and certain interdepartmental things have been allocated. They're not all the reserve funds that we budgeted. They've been allocated. So not too many surprises in, say, admin and fire. We talked about people and property, and that's basically where the flood expenses are right now. The public works is challenging, and I know it seemed like we had a light winter, but you still have to patrol. We had a lot of ice storms, and that's a challenge. I think we're going to have to up our base a bit there, because it seems like every year there's more. And I think like the time that you have to patrol, even though it's not, that maybe looks to the layman that, we don't really need to do anything. Well, but we're out there and we're doing that.
just on
too.
that through you, Chair. I mean, people don't realize we have to start patrolling on October 15th, and we have to go to April 15th.
Yes,
So
even if
let's see a
it's
patrol truck go out,
yeah,
check all the roads to make sure there's no black ice out there on weather like today.
it's true.
And yet, if we don't do it and register it, we're not in compliance.
That's
So
right.
it seems a little bit overkill, but that's a government
Mandatory.
rule and mandatory. These are things that when the government decides to make them compulsory, they don't realize that it adds a lot of cost to our situation.
The common sense.
Common sense doesn't come
play
in,
a
doesn't
role.
kick in. And then that's really frustrating.
They should add a temperature in there.
Yeah, you would think they could come up with something.
Like the apartment buildings have their heat on.
Yeah.
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 Anyways,
Yes.
And the other thing is
I'm
like,
sorry, there's a
go
question
ahead,
on
yeah.
CAOA.
Sure.
Just on winter control, and we did report to you first quarter, and we thought we had about 10%
Mhm.
left for this year, which or for the end of this year. After that was sand and salt invoices that came in, and we had mentioned we may have some of those. There's also a prepayment for sand and salt for this winter coming up. So there is a little bit of money there, but we are obviously very close to budget on that. There's a overpayment in revenue, which doesn't show up in winter control, of $15,000 by the county to us for roads we maintain for them. So that's a little bit helpful. And as you know, we have a new proposal for maintaining our doing our winter control this year. So we'll see how that plays out at budget in a month or so, and whether we need to increase the base, as the treasurer said.
And the municipality as a whole has been spending a lot of time and resources into asset planning, and a lot of that is not just capital spending, it's the maintenance. So our loose top and hard top maintenance. Again, I was at a seminar, and Michigan department did a really good 2-minute video. And why is the public works crew repairing that road? It's not that bad. Well, they're going like, if we just put some sealant on it now, then we don't have to look at it for 7 years or something. So it's a challenge to allocate sufficient operating expenses to try and reduce capital. And as you know, we have so many road projects on the go, but you've got your other roads, and you have to at least look at them and make some kind of repair there. And trees as well. Every time we get these ice storms or wind storms, there's tree cutting work, and it's a challenge. For water and sewer, thankfully the rate adjustments we put in last year have had a really good effect. And it's pretty close to forecast. Cemeteries, cutting the grass is a challenge, as we all know, and you can't control that. Recreation, as Matt mentioned, pools and day programs, it's hard in this kind of weather, and but usually our revenue is good in the last part of the year. Building, again, phenomenal, basically doubled our forecast, so it's been wonderful. And economic development, again, the largest operating expenses are debt servicing. We had our one farmers market. For capital admin, we've, been such a busy summer, we have to get our computer upgrades, and I still hope to get that done before the end of the year. Going full blast on the asset management. Fire, we got the trucks, the commercial laundry machine, and emergency measures. We bought those flood barricades just, I think, about a month before that we actually needed them anyway. We're very busy, as you can see, with George Street. Inkerman and Jane is almost finished there. A lot of design work and many asphalt projects, and it sounds like we're maybe 2/3 completed what we set out to do there too. In sewers, Mark Robertson has been busy putting in the repairs at the Harrison site. And there's so many components in the road work that we do, the Jane and Inkerman and George and that too. Lots of talk about positive impact on the inflow and infiltration too. So I hope we'll have more detailed reports to come on that too. Again, water, it's basically the pipe components of the large projects that we're doing. Haven't done too much in cemeteries at the end of July. Recreation, Al's always very good at researching and allocating what's been budgeted. And we had the dasher boards, the portable fencing, the accessible doors at the arena that we had the trillium funding for, and eliminators, and many upgrades at the Palmerston Arena. And the Harrison Pool, again, challenging to keep a 40-year-old facility going, but they're doing what they can there. In view of the Palmerston Imperials tournament, we did some upgrades at the ball diamonds there. And again, the pedestrian bridge. So we have $38,000 that we spent, and we're hopeful that most of that will be recovered by insurance too, but we haven't submitted that yet. And some upgrades at the museum. Economic development, as well as all the sales in that too. We're doing more servicing both in the industrial parks and downtown Clifford in view of the homecoming, and the entrance signs, which certainly look good. And I see the Harry Stone's lot work has been pretty much completed. So anyway, I guess we have to be vigilant the rest of the year, and hopefully if there's any savings, look for that. So anyway, sure.
And I think you mentioned it, but I think I missed
Go
it.
ahead.
The sewer and water works, they're terribly under budget as far as capital is concerned.
Yeah, timing.
It's all timing. Right?
Pretty much all timing, yeah, too. So Well, George Street was
George Street.
significant. In
Yeah.
July, we barely started going ahead. And if you remember the last two large accounts, there was a lot of Jane and Inkerman work, Hannah and Hamilton. So that's not reflected
It's
here
not
too.
okay.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
they're just pretty minimal that way.
Yes, Councillor Anderson.
I just had a question up in the admin section. It says
Sure.
there are many large appeals under consideration. Are those appeals through impact? People appealing their
Yes,
Okay.
and especially because this is the first year of a 4-year phase in,
right?
we tend to get a lot of them because the notices went out last fall, the spring, and
how
yeah.
long does it take? I know we have issues with new buildings.
Yeah.
And impact getting the final and telling people
Same
that they've got to
thing.
put money away for taxes.
Yeah.
And they say they're getting better, but
The goal, the impact goal is 18 months.
Okay.
For sure. They've just, launched the new version of Municipal Connect, which actually has a lot of good graphs and tables, and you can look and see what properties are under appeal in that.
okay.
The bad thing is, say you appeal your house,
Mhm.
it lists the whole value of your house is at risk. Well, even if you win, it might be 10% or
Right.
20. So it is challenging to come
Figure
up
out
with
what
an actual
impact it's gonna
figure.
have.
Yeah, but in general, like if you see a lot of things are there in 2015 or so and 16, we should be putting something aside for 17. The odds are some of them are going to go through for sure. So, yeah,
Just curious about that.
certainly. Yeah.
Are there any other questions? No, then the recommendation is the council receives the treasurer's July 31st, 2017 financial reviews report for information only. I have someone, Councillor Dirksen, seconded by Councillor Anderson. All in favor? And the motion is passed. And the final item on the agenda is our approval of accounts.
Yeah, so here's a good indication of what we're saying. $898,000 in total and $556,000 in one check for the Jane and Inkerman project.
Okay. And that is in September, which
yeah, which won't even
So
end.
there goes some of that.
Yeah,
A fair bit of it.
well, quite a bit. And that's the thing. You get one progress payment, $500,000 or sometimes more. Also got some admin. We've renewed our Keystone, which if you were at AMO, you see Keystone is now Aptian and USTI, but it's all the same company and they're still out of Hepworth. So $12,000 for that. Annual audit's about $23,000. Some other work on the trail for $1,900, and some other small recreation projects, and catch basins $1,300. So, but the bulk of it is that one check. So, yeah.
There's where the purchase order system will come in.
Yeah.
No, that's coming.
Yeah.
Would anyone
contract.
have any questions or comments? No? Moved by Mayor Bridge, seconded by Deputy Mayor Faulkner. All in favor?
Big guys on.
The recommendation, I didn't read it, is that we received the report and the financial, approved the financial accounts.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, and I turn the meeting back to Mayor Bridge.
Thank you, Councillor Caldwell. And I will just other business as disclosed. Who had something?
I was the only one, and this is early, but I've already been in discussion with Matt Lubers about our annual Christmas dinner,
right.
so we are repeating it again this year. It will be at the Harrison Arena, just because they have something booked at the Palmerston Arena, and it would make the guys come out when we set it up, and we don't want to do that. So it will be at Harrison again on Christmas Day, and more details will be forthcoming.
Anybody else? I just have one little thing, and I was just, if you get a chance, you'll see a few of them. I don't know where all 20 that we did yesterday are. Is the new signs, entrance signs for Wellington County. And they
Saw
have,
that.
yeah, do you see some of them already?
Yep.
So we did one in push list and did a media release yesterday. So 31 of them are going to be done this fall, and 20 I think are already in place. And then the next phase will be to go out and start working on our signs for our businesses, where they can, similar to what the MTO signs are, where you can actually, if you have a business or something, that you'll be able to advertise.
Is there one at Clifford?
I don't know if the one at Clifford, because that's some of them with based there, the MTO haven't got on yet.
Oh, okay.
So we might not have one, but if you get a chance to look at them,
I saw the one.
Yeah, they really look good, and I think it'll be a consistent message going into one
Similar
of the county.
to ours.
Well, that was the idea. They're similar to how we got the swoop, and same Center Wellington and Guelph Moss have done similar ones. So we're trying to keep it kind of consistent. But looking forward to the next of that project going forward, which will be the destination signs for businesses and attractions, which I think will be a big win. Okay, that's all I have. Okay. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, that the Committee of the Whole convenes the regular council meeting. All in favor? We don't have any notices of motion. Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Caldwell, the Council of the Town of Minto ratifies motions made in the Committee of the Whole. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Anderson, second by Councillor Elliott, bylaw number 2017-78 to authorize the sale of industrial on Minto Road, Palmerston Industrial Park, J&A Devise Construction Inc. be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed over council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, second by Councillor Elliott, the bylaw number 2017-79 execute public facilities limited use agreement, the Harrison Kinsman Club and Harrison Minto Agricultural Society be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed over council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Councillor Anderson, bylaw number 2017-80 to amend zoning bylaw number 0186 for 245 James Street, Palmerston, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed over council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Carried. Moved by Councillor Elliott, second by Councillor Caldwell, bylaw number 2017-81 to confirm actions of the Council of the Corporation of Town of Minto respecting the meeting held October 3rd, 2007, be introduced, read first, second, and third time, and passed over council, seal of the corporation. All in favor? Moved by Councillor Dirksen, second by Deputy Mayor Faulkner, the Council of the Town of Minto adjourns to meet again at the call of the Mayor. All in favor? And thanks everybody for a good meeting.